Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana market update video. Today is the 21st of February. I hope you all are doing well. I am doing amazing. Happy Friday. I don't know if any of the rest of you guys watched that Four Nations hockey playoff or hockey felt like playoffs hockey tournament. I'm in on hockey. I need a team. So if you have a team, give me an elevator pitch in the comments on why I should look at them. I'm a free agent and I'm looking to get involved in the hockey scene. Closest team to me is the Blues, but they're pretty far away, and I don't really have a connection to them, so I don't really have a geographically based team. I've been the NBA is kind of weak right now. MLB, I'm in a small market, and the salary cap stuff sucks. So we have NFL, and then some college teams and whatnot. But I'm really in on hockey after that tournament. I've been glued to the TV watching that. So if you have a hockey team, let me know why they're the GOAT and why I should be a fan of them. With that being said, moving on to the Lorcana stuff. They are absolutely killing this set. I am so fired up for Arcasia Island. It's so funny because I go through the same. I went through the same cycle. I guess not always, but I went through the same cycle with Shimmering Skies. When Shimmering Skies came and we started getting the cards and stuff, I was like, meh. Whenever they started doing the Enchanteds, at the beginning I was still kind of like 50-50, and then as we got more of the Enchanteds, more of the like just concept and the lore, etc. Just was fully bought in. Now I love Shimmering Skies. As you might see, once again, the Enchanteds weren't my favorite. We get into Arcasia Island, and they are just killing it. Every Enchanted they release, it's just like another level of artistic ability, and just the art is arting. They are absolutely killing it. We really are. It feels like like this in terms of like ranking the Enchanteds. I would say this is probably my third favorite set of all time, just kind of top to bottom. Thus far, we don't even have them all yet. I think we're probably going to get Bolt, and I think that will be the last one. But we've got several that we didn't have in our video yesterday, so that'll be nice to look at. But this Jafar that they released this morning, I mean, this thing is disgusting in the absolute best way possible. This card is so cool. I love what they're doing with the staff, and then you have kind of the vision of the staff in the background. I saw citizens of Lorcana say that, is this hinting at the Jafar made up Arcasia Island and it was all like a ruse? I think that this is top tier stuff, man. Like putting this on a shiny piece of cardboard on top of the Tamatoa and everything else they've released, it's like, Jesus, this set just doesn't stop from top to bottom. The art is just gorgeous. On top of the fact that there's no enchanted locations. Like I definitely like chapter one, I think is iconic for many reasons, but the art in that set and the Enchanteds being 12 characters, it's just the foundation, right? So that will always be at the top of my list, or at least it is right now. Rise of the Floodborn holds a special piece in my heart because that is where the Cinderella is. As you guys know, that's one of my favorite artworks in all of Lorcana. Another set that has 12 enchanted characters, no songs, no items, no locations, no actions. And then we get into, obviously many other sets in between there. But now with Arcasia Island, there are so many cards that like I have to have. Like it's a non-negotiable. Like I have to have these cards. There's so many of them that look so good, like Jafar. It just does not stop. So shout out to the Ravensburger team. Shout out to the art team. Shout out to just the entire, Lorcana just community and what they have going on here is truly magical. These cards look amazing. I cannot get enough of them. So that's the Jafar that was released this morning. Absolutely iconic. We also got a Mirabelle, which once again, like we haven't watched Encanto for a while, but this is a movie that obviously with our I have young daughters and everything, a really really good movie. Mirabelle, an iconic character, iconic IP in terms of just as of late within the Disney universe, and this card looks amazing with her dress flowing and the colors and everything going on, just truly magical. So another card that just without a doubt absolutely hits from an art perspective. We also got a Mickey Mouse, which always, never going to be mad at the mouse getting another enchanted. Not my personal favorite artwork. The card is really cool. And I think it might, it's got some unique like effects and stuff like that. Not necessarily one that I'll be, chasing overly hard, but still a cool art, something I can get behind. And then this one is just tremendous. All is found from Frozen 2. If you've seen Frozen 2, Anna and Elsa as when they were kids with their mom laying in the bed, like this, as just this hits me in the feels because this is something that my daughter coming of age, or not necessarily coming of age, but as she was a little girl, like in between like 1 and 2, we started watching Frozen, and she was hooked. Like that was one of the first movies that she could like truly watch, and like, just like you could turn it on and she'll watch it. Like, with kids, they don't really like looking at the TV, like unless it's Miss Rachel, like nothing really is gonna glue up to the TV. They're just kind of like scatterbrained, like, oh, that's cool, and then let's go throw something at the wall or whatever. Let's trip over something and fall. But with Frozen, she watched it, right, and now she's in kindergarten. She's grown out of like watching the princess movies a ton. Like it comes and goes. She's into Barbies and all sorts of stuff these days. So it's more than just Liz. But I also my youngest daughter who's just born within the last year, and she'll be getting over the next 6 to 12 months. She'll be getting into watching movies and things like Frozen, and I'll be able to kind of go back through that now. I've got the 2 daughters, right? I've got my son in between them, but there's just a lot that this card for me personally, it means a lot to me, and it's really I love the art on it. It's gorgeous, and so another card that once again just I'm very very excited to add to my collection now. It's a song, and so a lot of people they poo-poo the non-character Enchanteds. For me, hits like a truck. I absolutely love it. I think the artwork is gorgeous. Sentimentally, it just means a lot to me, and yeah, this card is just it's 10 out of 10. Chef's kiss. Cannot overstate how excited I am for Arcasia Island. I have not gotten multiple cases of a set since Ursula's return. Let me rephrase that. I have not pre-ordered multiple cases on release day since Ursula's return, which famously I got rinsed. I didn't get pull a single Enchanted out of the sealed cases, which was just, whatever. The irony of that, like I love the Enchanteds and I didn't pull any out of, hundreds of packs, but nevertheless, I ended up pulling one out of just an individual box, which was funny. But this is, I'm strongly considering upping my allocation for this particular set because I think the artworks are amazing. I think the cards are going to be incredibly playable. I saw someone talking on Twitter that they went to locals last night and someone brought a set 7 deck that just had proxies in it. And they said that they felt like they were playing a different game. Like the game was just over by like turn 5, wasn't close. They blew them out. And so I think like I've seen, like Din, one of the best Lorcana players in the world, he thinks the set's way overhyped. When I'm looking at it as a casual, I feel like maybe at the very, very top end, it's maybe overhyped, right? From his opinion, he knows much more than me. But I feel like so many of the cards are going to see play. I think there's going to be a lot of expected value in the boxes on the playable singles. And then if you add in some chases as Lorcana continues to grow and it becomes a little bit more collector heavy each and every set, I think that we could see a set like Arcasia's Island kind of mount itself in the top 3 to 4 sets in terms of long-term expected value, just simply due to the fact that the Enchanteds are so good, the playable cards, right? All that mixes together for a good expected value for a set. I think that we're going to get that with Arcasia's Island. Now, look, I can't see the future. I don't know, but I really, really like the way that we're set up here. And it's really got me rethinking if I want to get, 2 to maybe even 3 or 4 cases of Arcasia's Island. So those are our new Enchanted releases. Like I think we have one more left. But that is where we're at. I was really hoping that Bajira was going to get an Enchanted. We watched a lot of Jungle Book, or we have in the past, and I really like this card. I want a good steel legendary Enchanted. We haven't had one for a while since since Tinkerbell rather. But nevertheless, we also have the Donald, which I think we looked at yesterday. Card is awesome. Once again, just the art on a lot of people said like Dark Magician Girl vibes, which I totally see. But yeah, just the art and Radigan as well. We didn't see. I saw Lorcana Villains 200 posts. I was just dying laughing at that. He was fired up. And all these villain cards getting some love. So those are the Enchanteds that we have not seen yet. But yeah, top to bottom of the set is just magical in my opinion. I think we are really set up for success with this set. Getting into some of the market stuff, and this is going to be a little bit of a longer video. That was 10 minutes just talking about art, so we've got another 10 to 15 to go here. So they released the top sales numbers for the month of January in Japan, which famously Lorcana was released in Japan, or in Japan on January of this year. So kind of first month on the scene, and you'll see that it came in at number 5 for total sales for a TCG in January. Worth noting that it is being it's being licensed there through this company. I'm probably going to butcher it. I apologize. Takara Tomy. They're the ones actually going to market with this, with Lorcana for Ravensburger. Obviously, Ravensburger's involved. They were at the release, et cetera, et cetera. They're just licensing it through Takara Tomy to release it there. You'll see above them Duel Masters, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. And so this is, I've talked a lot on this channel about the potential of Lorcana and just the overall, potential with the IP as it goes worldwide, right? So you'll notice that a game like Magic is not on this list. Now, Magic dominates in the United States. It's the one of the biggest TCGs. Them and Pokemon are kind of the two mainstays as it relates to the United States market. But when you have a brand like when you have an IP like Disney, then you truly can go worldwide and see success. And that's why you see them in the top 5, just literally their first month in existence in the country. So that's really exciting. Now, this is an interesting use case because there has never been an English first TCG and IP that is going into Japan that's been able to really heavily break through, a la Magic, not seen on the top 10 here. And so I think that this is going to be an interesting just kind of path to follow on how well Ravensburger can break through. I mentioned it before, but I spoke with a friend who was at release day in Japan, and they said that there was thousands of people that showed up. There was a lot of hype around it, but he's like, look, it's no Pokemon. It's nowhere close. It's going to take a lot for it to break through, which I think is obviously the case. Pokemon in Japan obviously going to be the mainstay there and the number 1, but I'm very, very, very interested to see if it can start breaking through some of these, IPs like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, One Piece that are originated in Japan, Japan first TCGs, Japan first IPs. Like there's a lot going for those IPs in those countries. And so I'll be very, very excited to see how that continues to shape up. But I just wanted to share it. Nevertheless, cool story for Lorcana to get some good exposure in Japan the first month of its release. So cool little side note there. Moving into some bigger sales on the English side of things that I wanted to touch on. So I'll go through the prices and then I'll kind of give my thoughts on where we're at here for the higher end. Because the higher end, the set cards in Lorcana continue to be driven by the players, right? The Enchanteds that have higher prices, like shout out in the Discord, the Disney Lorcana dad Mike, he pointed out that in set 2, Lady Tremaine Enchanted is more valuable than Snow White. And that's something we've talked about on the channel a lot, but there's no world where you put those two cards next to each other, Snow White with how historic her IP is in combination with Lady Tremaine and the art. There's just no world where Lady Tremaine should be more valuable than Snow White unless we're only buying these cards for meta, which is the case right now, to put the cards into the deck. And while that is the case for the set cards, that is not the case for the higher end. There's still a lot of consistency and growth in these cards. And so I think it's as the collector base grows, I think the set cards are going to pick up, right? I maintain that just about every card in Lorcana is undervalued right now. Now, there's some that make more sense than others, right? But I think overall, the entire collector base is completely undervalued. So we're going to get into some of the cards on the high end here, talk about prices and my overall thoughts and sentiments. So first and foremost, we had the Mickey here sold for $2,400. Quick note on this one is this card is a lot more readily available than the rest of the cards we're going to talk about. The rest of the cards were in the box set of 6, remember? They came out in 2022. The Mickey was a handout at that same event, but was not included in the box. And so we don't know overall print numbers for him. We know that the rest of the cards were printed up to 900 quantities. Mickey more than that. We don't know how much more. I think significantly more, but I don't know if that's 2 times as much. I don't know if that's 3 times as much. There's some sort of range that falls into. But he is a lot more readily available. But what I will say is he is a little bit harder to grade than all of the other cards in the box set. So you'll see that like a Stitch, one that historically sells for 2,300 to 2.5K is usually the range that it falls in. You'll see a Mickey that there's a lot more of these Mickeys, but and this gets back to like my whole thesis around the first edition Elsa that we see down here versus the golden Mickey, the serialized Mickey from the tournaments. There's more Mickeys out there than Stitches, but the fact that the Brave Little Tailor Mickey art is the face of Lorcana gives it a bump in this particular auction, right? Extremely small sample size, but the rarity versus the demand and the popularity is outweighing for the BLT Mickey with the first edition stamp. And I think that's just, we're gonna have to see how that shakes out. Lorcana is way too young to know how these cycles are going to go in these markets, how efficient they're going to be. But right now, that's just an interesting point that there's a lot more of these Mickeys out there than any of these D23 2022 collector's box cards, but yet the Mickey is commanding a premium. So 2,050 for the Stitch, very weak price on that for that particular card. Almost 2,200 for the Cruella, which is a pretty strong price. The Dragon holding strong at 2,300, great price. Elsa at 7,200. Solid price, right where she has been. We do have another Mickey that sold PSA 10 for 2,225. We have the Robin Hood and the Captain Hook, which are historically the cheapest cards in the box set, selling for about 1,500. Cruella is typically down there, and I think this illustrates a really good point on if you are selling these Grail cards. Like, we've seen these go to auction week after week after week. They really have been flooded on the market. Kind of think from, I guess, like October of last year till now, the sales have been constant. And I think that that's just illustrating the people who were able to get their hands on the box and get their cards graded. Their total investment was maybe, $200, $300 all in to get all the cards and get them graded. And now they can part ways with the Elsa for, 7,000 to 8,000, all these other cards, couple thousand, right? So I think a lot of people are just kind of taking their profits and willing to get rid of them at that point. And then there's plenty of buyers like me who are now willing to pay that premium and pick up those cards. If you've been around for a while, you know that I struggled with these cards for a long time. They had just seen such significant percentage gains in such a short amount of time. The amount of risk on these cards is absolutely insane. Now, I have a disgusting level of risk tolerance, and I think that it's still a good bet, and so I made it. But at the end of the day, these cards they have percentage gains in 18 months are unprecedented. So I think that I think it's going to continue, right? And that's why I went out and got the Elsa. But at the end of the day, these cards have gone up very, very quickly over time when you look at their total life cycle. Now, what I think is interesting here is we have seen these cards go to auction so much, especially some of these cards like the Stitch, for example. Every single week, someone's been selling a Stitch, and you're starting to see the market kind of weaken on his price. He is historically the second most valuable in this set, behind Elsa and above Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. But you see in this auction that he doesn't even sell for as much as Cruella de Vil, who is historically more in the bottom three with Robin Hood and Captain Hook. And that's simply based on the fact that not as many Cruellas have been sold as of late versus how many Stitches have been sold. And so I would say if you are in the market to sell these cards, you've been a holder for a long time, you need capital, whatever it is, I would advise trying to wait till some of this shakes out, because there's been so many going to market that the prices are holding strong, but I think that they've been holding strong for a long time, and your best bet is to obviously hold as long as you can, in my opinion. But I think that even in the short term, just giving a couple weeks or months in between these sales is going to do a lot for the prices, because they've been getting thrown around like crazy, right? They're really going into long-term holders' hands now, and I think that we're starting to see that reflect in the prices for a very weak Stitch sale that historically he can sell in between 25 to 3,000 pretty consistently, at least 2,300 down at 2K now. So one other thing I'll mention on these sales, I think the auctions overall were pretty strong. It was weak for Stitch, very strong for Cruella. Everything else was kind of in line. Not the best sales for Robin Hood and Captain Robin Hood and Captain Hook. But one thing I will point out here is that the Elsa, I love that. If you guys remember, I think on Monday we discussed someone had listed a D23 2022 Elsa as like an error or a miscut, when in reality it just had like a foil scratch. It wasn't like a significant error, significant miscut. They were trying to really sell it as just like one of one Grail piece, and it wasn't. The market did not fall for it. That Elsa sold for $7,001, just right at kind of the $7,000 floor there that has been established for Elsa. And now we see a sale here just a couple of days later at 7,200, so up a couple $100 from that sale for just a non-error, one of one. It was never a one of one, but you guys get my point. So nice to see that Elsa bounce back. And once again, we continue to maintain a very, very solid floor for these cards. And I think we're going to continue to see that. For those of you guys who, once again, are, it's the set cards are boring you, or, maybe you're on the fence about Lorcana. If you still have passion for it and you foresee yourself being around for a while, like I am, I highly encourage you guys to go out and get these first edition cards. I think they're some of the most undervalued cards in Lorcana, even though the fact they've gone through these significant percentage gains over since inception back in 2022. When you think about the first edition stamp, you think these are the first cards that ever went to market. Even when they were released, people were at the D23 convention racing to get to the booth. And that was before anyone knew the game was even good. These are going to be collectible long past the time Lorcana's gone. I think Lorcana is set up to have so much success, really breaking through at a pivotal time. They've got a lot to get better at, right? I've mentioned that several times on what I would like to see them do, but it's just blatant that they have a good runway here and they built up a lot of community trust. They've got to continue to evolve. They've got to continue to deliver. Sets like this, like Arcasia Island, are a great way to do so. We need some more communication, so on and so on. They're growing the team. I think they're going to come back stronger than ever. And when they do and they start adapting and hitting on some of these things, I think the future is very, very bright for Lorcana. With that being said, obviously these are shiny pieces of cardboard. It is a game. These are toys. I think that there's definitely an investment aspect to it, right? And these cards have value. There's just no doubt about it. They do, right? Whether that's just someone using them as an investment vehicle or someone playing with them, whatever it is, these cards have value. With that being said, they're incredibly risky, incredibly volatile. I think that these first edition cards are undervalued just simply based on they're limited in nature. They're relatively hard to grade. The PSA 10 count is never going to exceed a certain number, right? Whether there's 900 total, and they're like 60% gem mint rate cards, most of them. So pop count might be at like a 600 total, something like that, in terms of a PSA 10 version. And I just think that we're set up for success at those numbers, given the overall collectability of the brand, the overall vertical integration and total addressable market of the brand. I think that these cards are poised for long-term success. So not to say to just go out and buy them, right? Look for auctions, to be strategic, get them where you can get them. I think you still have time, right? But at the end of the day, I think these cards are going to they have an immense future ahead of them. So that is it on the Grail side of things. And then I did want to mention, I think Lee's ended up at, like, if you do the math, around like 17 to 18K for the full PSA 10 set, which I think is fair. There are some listings on eBay for like 27K for the full PSA 10 set, way overpriced. Go out and get them individually. Don't force yourself into some expensive set. So with that being said, we did have some individual cards that I think were worth taking a look at here in terms of singles that have continued to go up. Things like the Calhoun continue to be on the rise. We're now sitting around $11, $12 floor. When you look at a cold foil version of this card, you're looking at almost a $20 card for a rare from set 6, right, from Azurite Sea. I think that this card is one that, there's plenty of Azurite Sea out there, and so these cards there's going to continue to be plenty of singles, but there's just there's a solid buy-through rate on this card, and I think it's going to continue to trend in the right direction. Now look, anytime you're buying when the graph is up here and it's higher than it's ever been, that's risky, but just more or less pointing this out for anyone who may have some for sale, I think that this might be one that makes a little bit of sense, due to the fact that it is at all-time highs, very new set, could see a reprint, etc., etc. Another one that is starting to see some traction here is Belle, Hidden Archer from Rise of the Floodborn. Legendary from that set. Her ability is whenever this character is challenged, the challenging character's player discards all of the cards in their hand. So people are using this as a way to get people to discard their hands. It's going to have shift functionality with the new Belle that came out. It's a solid statted card already. 3/3 is weak for a 5, but it quests for 3, and so if you're going to challenge into it, etc., etc. Very, very good hand, a lot of potential there. Are very, very good card, and you start to see the sales volumes here kind of bottomed out, and then it's shooting back up. Still a relatively cheap card. You can get one for $4.59. If you have any other cards, you'll get free shipping from Epic Card Hub if you get over $5. Other than that, $5.50, lowest on the market. So we have some cards like this that are seeing some significant growth, and just, as the meta shifts and these playable cards change, we're going to continue to see that. I did want to mention, it looked like Jafar here. Actually, I want to look at the Cinderella DLC promo that we looked at earlier this week that had shot up to $340. I think I saw it come back down like at an additional 100 or so. I also wanted to take a look at Jafar, so we'll pop him out there real quick. Man, some of these cards are so cheap. The Anna, so cheap. The Cinderella, so cheap. Just iconic IPs, iconic arts. So many slept on cards here. Jafar is not seeing too much traffic here, up to 150. Still seeing a decent. You'll see the market price is still lagging behind at 93. Lowest on the market is 150. So one that's seen a decent jump here. I do think it was an interesting enchanted choice to have the Jafar in this set. When we have the Reign of Jafar, literally, you're telling me he's not going to get an enchanted next set. Like, he's for sure getting an enchanted in his own set, the Reign of Jafar. So we've got the Jafar here. We have the Striking Illusionist Jafar that we just looked at. We're going to have enchanted Jafar in the next set. Is he going to be the set champs card as well? Like, it's Jafar's world. We're just living in it. Poor Elsa is still sitting at her first enchanted. Meanwhile, Jafar is going to be up at like 4 after next set if he gets the set champs card as well. So we'll see what happens there. But overall, I think, it was an interesting decision to give him an enchanted here. Now, I love the art. It is just absolutely sick, and I'm glad they did it. But once again, we're getting a lot of Jafar, right? Let's take a look at Cinderella here, and then we will get out of here. I think that people were smart enough to realize that this card was, oh man, it's not going to give me that. All right, let's just filter to promos. This card was obviously, bought out, and so there was, hey, my Knight in Training Cinderella was, I'm looking for Stout Hearted, not Knight in Training. Card's finally getting a little bit of love, just so undervalued, disgustingly undervalued. In 3 years, looking back at that card, I'm going to just say I told you so every single video. Not really. I would never do that, but nevertheless. Okay, 270 for the Stout-Hearted Cindy. Still, all-time highs by a wide margin, but coming down a little bit. Obviously, 340 for this card. No one took the bait. No one's bought one. Or one got bought today for 250, but apart from that, no one bought one after the run-up here, which, I mean, still is a decent run-up, right? Jumping from 199 into the 250s. Decent run-up here, but once again, a card that, I don't know. These trophy cards have performed so well. The prize cards have done so well just out of the gate. I wouldn't have forecasted it. I would have thought we had a little bit of a dip. No, I think this is really good in terms of the amount of players that the prizing has brought into the game. Like, famously, the Luke Wonderful, or Luke Godwin, the guy who won Seattle, he on his stream one time, he was like, I played Magic for 20 years. I made more playing Lorcana for 6 months than I did in my entire career of Magic. I think that is, that's a testament to why so many people are in the Lorcana space. The prizing pays very, very well. And so I don't know if that's necessarily going to slow down or decrease at all, but I will say that I am surprised at how well it's done just from the start, and then in combination with the fact that there has been really no lull with these cards coming down significantly. Like, Cindy was available for around 80 for a while, Rapunzel around 100 for a while, but they never really got down into like the 40 or 50 range, anything like that. The cold foils have always, been 1,000 plus for the most part. And so just the prizing, even just the side event prize wall stuff has done very, very well. And, I think that's a testament to the collectability of the cards. I think, once again, the collector base still has a lot of growing to do in terms of some of the set cards and things like that. But when you're talking about alt arts that are rare, that are not coming out of a pack, promo cards, the people are loving them. And I think that's here to stay. Wish there was a little bit more of a decrease here, because just selfishly, I miss these cards. I miss Rapunzel Gift with Healing. I miss Cinderella Stout-Hearted. I thought that they would stay cheaper longer, and you know, and I played the game and I lost, and that's what it comes down to. So now these cards are, yeah, I'm not going to go out and get like a play set for, you know, $800 of a prize wall card that a lot of you told me is as readily available as Dragonfire, for example. That's a $50 card. So. With that being said, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Arcasia Island. If you have a hockey team for me to be a fan of, let me know. I am a free agent, and I am looking to join a fandom. So with that being said, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back with some more content soon. Bye.